Being recorded, got it. Okay, so yes. Okay, so let's as I said, what I'm hoping to you need the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what I am hoping to do right now is to very quickly go over the GitHub page with you that shows just how to install the library, what kinds of parameters to set, and gives you some ideas of how to use different components of the system. And then we can have, I don't know what is happening here.
I don't either. Maybe let's make turn on, turn off. This make it go away.
It's just almost like pretending that you're are you seeing the rest of this
Yes.
on the page?
Yes, I don't know what that is. This is
Okay, I mean, as long as I don't, it's fine.
I'm just trying to make this go away. Hide video panel. No. Hide floating meeting controls. That green is there. I don't know.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. So this is the website. So maybe the way that we can get started might be that people can just even Google Plurals, and you can try my last name, GitHub. You're gonna see the website.
Oops. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. They shared it in the internal WhatsApp.
Great. Excellent. So this is the our page. There are a lot of details here, but I will very quickly go through the README that first starts with, I guess, our citation for the paper. It gives you this overview that I briefly talked about. We had an initial system launch, but then we've been making some updates on this to make some improvements. I guess it talks about some of these, some of which I haven't really talked about here. But the quick start is, I think, what we need for today's activity. I feel like it will be also kind of fun where if people talk to each other as opposed to try to do this alone. So after I go through this very quick introduction, maybe we can form some groups and then carry out the rest of it all together. But really, installation is, does everybody here know how to use Python?
Yeah, most people.
Most people. Okay, so if you don't know how to use Python, maybe you'll try to connect with others who have not.
Those formats you don't use Python are very good in R.
Okay.
So they can do everything that you would do in Python.
Okay, great. Awesome. So, unfortunately, that will be for today's, exercise. Might not be as helpful, but that's why it might be good to team up with others that know this. But again, I think intellectually you'll know what to do, but it might be easier to talk with others. So again, the library is Plurals. So pip install Plurals is how you get that installed. And you just need to set your environment for your API keys. So the OpenAI, maybe again, who here has an OpenAI account already?
Open Router API.
Sorry?
Open Router API, which includes.
Okay.
OpenAI, I don't know if it can.
So you will still need to go to your OpenAI account to create an API key. So as long as you have an API key that works, that should be fine. If you have an account that you do not have an Open API key yet, you can even just Googling how to create an OpenAI API key will give you the exact steps that you need to take to be able to do this. It's been quite a few years at this point for me since I last did this, but if you get stuck, we can all help each other. And who here has an Anthropic account? Okay, great. So one thing, again, we can try, could be fun, is that some folks can be the OpenAI camp, and some people can be the Anthropic camp, and then we can see which ones of those are producing better looking content. So that's all you need to, as I said, is set this environment. As I said, the agents can be put in any kind of structure. In this exercise, I'm going to ask that we create DAG structures, directed acyclic graphs, which is again putting agents in an arbitrary sort of graph, if you will, not purely arbitrary, but arbitrary enough to tell you which agents talk to which other agents. And so here, I guess in this particular example, we are trying to get the system to craft a mystery story set in 1920s Paris. The story should revolve around the theft of a famous artwork, and this is the structure that we're creating. So the structure sets it such that the first agent is creating the setting of the story. Then that talks to the character agent that takes information from the setting to create characters for it. And then the plot agent gets the information from the setting and the characters to create the plots. And the moderator is basically using all of this information to do pruning of the story to create a final story, right? So that's our goal here. You can see that the agents that I created are, you have different agents that have different names. So this is the plot agent. Its system instructions are telling you that you're a best-selling author specializing in mystery plots. Combination structures is that develop the plot based on the character and the inputs from this, which is basically telling you what are its connections, right? So the plot agent's connections. This will tell it that it's going to be getting information from the setting agent and the character agent, right? And character agent again is saying that it is, so this is it's saying start previous responses. Previous responses are going to be defined by the structure that we create that I'm going to show next, right? So this is saying you're getting information from these, based on the previous responses. The character agent is, again, it has its own sort of system instructions, which is its goal is to create, you're an expert with a background in psychology, create the characters in this way. So these are the, three sort of agents that we have. Then we have a moderator. Moderators by default get all of the information from the system, which is what we are seeing here. Right, so the moderator is connected to all of the other agents. And the moderator's role is that you're an experienced editor specializing in mystery novels, and your goal is to synthesize the plot, character, and setting elements to create a cohesive story. Any questions? That's high level, but these are the instructions that we are giving to the agents, right? And again, where is this previous responses going to come from? It's going to be based on the network that you create. And the network I create is given by this thing that I'm showing here, right? The edges are, there is an edge from the setting agent to the character agent. There is an edge from setting agent to the plot agent, and the character agent to plot agent. That's giving this network, right? This part here. You don't have to define the network, the edges for the moderators, because that's by default. The moderator is connected to everybody else. Make sense? So that gives the structure, and once agents start talking, the underlying system that we built is going to make it such that the previous responses is going to reflect what the agents have said before. Questions? Okay, so that gives you hopefully an idea. And yes, yeah. So all you when you guys are creating, doing your own experiments, all you need to change is really the prompts. So that's why it's pretty sort of, I think, accessible to be able to sort of use this system. So here you can see that the personas in these cases, I'm sort of describing in sort of free text, right? But you can also, that defines what my agents, who my agents are. You can also define who your agents are using, as I said before, a national representative surveys. And all you would need to do here is this. So this tells us that I need to create 20 agents using this model. And the persona is random, which says that it actually is saying randomly drawing a row from ANES. of the latest ANES. Right, so it basically randomly pulls a person from the US, if you will. And then I'm creating an ensemble of these 20 agents, which is again that each agent is independently talking. And then you can see their responses. You can produce a response to look at them themselves. So I don't want to get into this Wikipedia neutrality stuff that we haven't covered this, so I'm going to skip this one. But you can have like interview-based simulated focus groups. I'll skip this one as well. So there is, I guess there are various versions of these that you can produce in this system, right? You basically just need to change the agent, instructions, personas, and their structures. So here I'm we're giving another example of creating a chain. So you can have a chain. Here's the task. Here's the sort of combination instructions, which is the critique and revise, which is what I showed here. And then you can have a moderator or not. And here our moderator is the default moderator. I guess here it was using cloud. And you can have them work in multiple cycles and so forth, right? So we have various examples, I guess, on this page. I guess we had, even the examples I gave you are more from a political communication perspective. We've also experimented with using it for like science uses. So we have an abstract reviewed by 2 independent panels is a thing that you can create for yourself. You're trying to submit your grants or your papers, I guess. Yeah, so and then we have some potential uses that I'm also we have also, not Josh is really the one who maintains this GitHub page and does fantastic work with it. So we have some examples here, but I thought that what we can do is first, really, if you do not have an account yet, let's have you sort of create an account with one of these generalist models out there. Create your API key, and let's first all make sure that we can install this library and create some agents and look at some outputs. And then we can try a couple of sort of ideas. So one thing I was thinking is, I had this from before. So depending on in what order different agents talk to each other, you might produce a different kind of text, right? So you might have, let's say that you have a task that is getting people to discuss what is the right way to handle election integrity in the US, right? So that can be a task that you have. That's the goal, is to come up with the right answer for this one. If you start with first having Democrats discuss this, and then independents have that information, process that text, and pass it along to Republicans, and so on and so forth, you can see that as Republican 1 is producing its text, it is considering all of this sort of ideas that are produced before it, right? So in that case, creating a network like this, I'm upweighting the Democrats' viewpoint, because Democrats are not only producing the text, but they are being considered each new sort of result or the text that is being produced. Right. So that might or might not create a different kind of text as a result, compared to this world where the Republicans are talking first and their ideas are being considered by the downstream sort of messages or the agents that are producing their messages. Right? So we can create these 2 systems maybe, and have them, again, maybe also create them using different generalist models. And then we can have some fun. Maybe one team can come up with the answer using plurals, and maybe some view from nowhere kind of text result, and then read it out loud, and let's see what people are voting for each of these. So sort of try to make it a little bit fun. Yeah. So is it possible to have some similar challenges that would compare the results in different groups? Yeah, I mean, so if I had decided this not 15 minutes before, I would make this a lot more systematic so that we can more automatically compare, like, different groups, and then produce a bunch of things, and then sort of have a more computational evaluation of what wins and what does not. I do not think that we're gonna get there. I mean, we can
all with it. It's just
yeah. So I think eventually yes, like that would be the goal, right? That you would produce a bunch of them, and then have all bunch of them be evaluated by a bunch of other people, and in a more systematic way, see which one works. So that's why I think that I don't know if we're going to be able to do that, but I will say that we can maybe have 4 groups, like a group of people who are anthropic people and who are doing this. Oh yeah, so maybe okay, actually two groups would be enough. So you're gonna create 2 networks, right? So you're gonna have this network, which we are thinking that maybe is going to upweight Republicans, but maybe not. We'll see. And then we're going to have this network, which is maybe going to upweight Democrats. So you're going to create output from both of these. Maybe we don't have to do this comparison to the generalist models. By the way, I will say that so we looked at a lot of these outputs ourselves, and one way that the generalist models fail is that when you give them instructions saying you are a Democrat, they go extremely stereotypical. Like they're like, oh, I'm a Democrat, I must believe in all of the Democrat things. And then so it's like has this very stereotypical sort of responses. When we pull them from ANES, where they have more intersectional identities, when you're not only a Democrat, but you're a Democrat that lives in Texas and maybe has a 18-year-old man, those tend to be much less sort of stereotypical. So that's one way that actually they, I think, outperform the generalist model. So I'm not going to ask us, I mean, you can still do it, right? You can still create the generalist model and these 2 networks, but maybe the group that is using, let's say one group that's using Anthropic and creating these 2 network outputs can read out loud the outputs, and then we can see if other people can guess which one was created by which network. So that might be. So we'll create groups that are doing this, and then we'll try to do it as many as possible so that we'll get some numbers. But I don't know if we'll get there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get started, and maybe it will make sense. So so how do we get people to?
maybe like let's give them a 5-minute break.
Great.
They'll go like it's not enough time for coffee, but like a bathroom break maybe. And then when they come, they can like talk among themselves, like outside this world if you want, and decide on which groups you want to form in order to be able to complete this exercise.
So maybe we can say groups of 2 to 3 people.
Also, you are raising.
Should they have some credits for OpenAI keys?
Yeah, that's the.
So in that case, I think as I learned from a friend yesterday, Google Gemini has a free API access.
Okay.
Maybe we can work with that, but for OpenAI or Plurals, you need to have a certain credits in your accounts to use.
Yeah, that we had discussed this. Unfortunately, it is true that it is like it's. I mean, luckily, it's not. Yeah.
Computers that we can have. Hopefully, like if CS majors would help, that would be nice. We have planned something for Thursday, I guess. So we could separate into 5 groups, 5 computers, 5 API keys. I think it could work with Gemini. So,
there is also a platform Fireworks AI that
I'm so sorry.
It just gives $5 to everybody to use its API, and you will have access to open LLMs.
Okay.
Yeah, and also like Olama, the program that we downloaded yesterday is kind of like a free also API access at some point, but it works with different models like Llama. So something you can find, but for OpenAI and Plurals, you need to have credits on your accounts.
Yeah. Basically, this is by design. So 3 years ago, we were just doing CSS summer schools, teaching people how to like download packages, like build network models, like build mapping, and so on and so forth. That's kind of old training. That is a very obsolete way of teaching computational social science. I think the way we should teach computational science as of 2026 is to get someone who's doing advanced research, explain the information, and then you use the LLMs and any other resource that you can find together with your friends in order to find your own way of how to solve that problem and how to approach that problem. And I think this is a very good case of exactly doing that. Some advanced work, some obscure challenge, very little stepping stones, and with your group and with your existing knowledge of prompt engineering to make LLMs work for you, you complete this task on your own. That is the way to teach computational science as of this year, I would say. So let's go out, 5 minutes break, decide how you want to solve this problem, and then come back and start working.